Today I am grappling Paige. I'm typically grappling bigger dudes outside my weight class. It is really fun to grapple with somebody inside your weight class. Paige is a great jiu-jitsu training partner because she is athletic, focuses on technique, and has a lot of fight while also maintaining a playful, I want to get better type vibe. She's also funny and smells better than the guys. No shade to the guys with good hygiene. If you're a white belt who wants to get better, the challenge is that during rolling, it's a crapshoot on whether or not you end up in the position that you're currently trying to get better at. And we all know the best way to get better faster is to be intentional, to have a goal or intention for each roll. A solution to this challenge is to start grappling in a position. In Jiu-Jitsu, we call this positional sparring. So Paige and I start rolling from guard. I am inside Paige's closed guard. From inside closed guard, your objective is to open the guard, then pass, which gets you to a better, more dominant position like mount or side control. I try to stand to open Paige's guard, but she defends by diving and clinching from turtle, which means grabbing the back of my head to break my posture down. She's grabbing my wrist and pushing my head because she's angling to set up an arm bar. To defend the armbar, I tuck my elbows to get them below the thigh line so she can't armbar me by hyperextending my elbow. From there, I go for a cut over pass, then switch directions, circling back to her back. Then slide my knee over to get mount. The leg hooks are called grapevines. You can use grapevines to defend against the hip hop escape and add extra pressure by driving your hips into their diaphragm, which makes breathing very difficult and makes you feel 50 to 100 pounds heavier. Paige improves her position by trapping my leg, which puts her on the bottom of half guard instead of being mounted. I post my bottom knee on her hip to use it as a leverage point to free my top leg, then transition by posting my hand, we know this as side control, number 1 at our school, and transitioning to the north-south position. Paige intelligently defends my transition to north-south by having an excellent side control safety position. She uses her forearm posted on my hip to attach herself to me. If I move, she moves with me, which defends against me moving to north-south. Since I can't rotate my hips around her clockwise, I switch directions and find an opening to slide my knee over her torso to get mount. I slide up to high mount and add a move that looks like I'm on the bow of the Titanic. This makes your training partner miserable. The key here is to torture training partners so that they build a tolerance. We all torture in Jiu-Jitsu out of love. Paige keeps fighting to escape mount as I fight for a mounted triangle submission. She gets one arm free to slip out the back, so I grab her arm and turn to get an armbar. She defends the armbar by pulling her elbow in, getting to her knees, and fighting to remove my leg that's keeping her posture broken. I counter with a belly down armbar. She fights back by driving forward. I counter by attacking her other arm with a kimura. A kimura attacks the shoulder joint. Imagine laying face down on the ground in handcuffs and somebody pulls up on the handcuffs. That is the same sensation of being kimura'd. She isn't tapping, and I know why, because I have done the same thing. So you can fight a kimura by pulling your wrist forward and or straightening your arm, but it's a fight with a very high risk of getting injured. I didn't rip the kimura because it's not worth potentially injuring a really good training partner. Instead, I asked her, are you sure you don't want to tap? You should probably tap. It's probably a good idea. So it was a submission due to kimura and intelligence. We both have a very high level of fight. In some instances, it's better to tap. The last time I fought out of a kimura, I stopped the roll immediately, quietly left the jiu-jitsu gym, and then proceeded to scream from pain during the entire drive home. Here's a tip for you to get more arm bars. Grab their opposite side tricep. This prevents them from pulling their arm back in defense. Squeeze your knees to get a higher fulcrum point, which makes arms easier to break. So this was a submission due to an arm bar from closed guard. Here, instead of grabbing Paige's opposite tricep, I grab the same side with an overhook to go for a different armbar from close guard called a shotgun armbar. Paige isn't about to be fooled twice and pulls her arm back.
It was a toe hold with my hair.
Alright, what do you want to start over? You want to reset?
Yeah.
Paige gets what I'm calling a Medusa submission. I'm kidding, but seriously, my toe gets caught in her hair, and with the right movement, it was either her hair getting ripped out or my toe getting injured. Either way, it's not cute, so we restart with her inside my guard. From fan sweep, there is a triangle and a guillotine off of a failed sweep. So I go for a fan sweep as I try to remember the transition to get a triangle. From closed guard, I go for an omoplata. Paige defends by turning into my leg and getting into my closed guard. I then go for a Hail Mary armbar, and Paige defends by posturing up to shake me off of her, but I have a secure grip on her tricep and finish the armbar belly down. She taps, so submission is due to armbar. She asks how she could escape that arm grip. The answer is to posture up and use a wide grip on my knee pit as leverage to pull out.
I'm trying to keep them tight. Just my side, this is so good. Yeah. You fed right into it.
No, yeah, just pull it out.
Yeah.
No.
Don't put your arm there.
But the key to defending any submission is figuring out what happened 3 seconds before you got there in the first place. I stand up and reach back to uncross Paige's ankles to open her closed guard, which is the first step in passing guard. She has a grip on one of my ankles, so I am in danger of being swept from open guard. I step back to make it more difficult for her to access my other ankle. From here, I'm looking to step over Paige's legs to get a mount position, but she is doing a great job fighting by hipping out to escape side control. I pin my knee to her hip to maintain side control and wait for a good time to step over her legs to get mount. From here, I'm thinking about going to S-mount, and you can too, but remember, one of you guys had requested a smothering submission, so I work up to high mount by posting my forearms on the top of the head. This counters their attempt at escaping high mount, because to escape high mount, they will try to get their elbows on your knees to shimmy up, and when they do that, their head runs right into the roadblock created by the forearms. This is a great bridge. If Paige would have shot her ass back 12 inches and violently hipped out at this moment instead of returning ass back to the same spot on the mat, this knee to elbow escape would have worked, and this level of movement is super great. During the bridge, which feels like being on a bucking bronco, I use it to transition to the high mount, which helps me maintain mount because in high mount, you're not directly over the source or the apex of the bridge move. This smothering submission is also called mother's milk. Yes, they giveth and taketh life. The first stage is thinking, this isn't so bad, but soon this motorboat position begins to feel like you want your $2 back, and a sweaty rash guard blocks your nose and mouth in a manner just like torture by waterboarding, except it's sweat instead of water. Paige tries to turn away from the source of torture, but I block her head from moving. Straight guys will talk about how they would love to be here, but I've seen sheer panic in the eyes of grown-ass men. I've heard screams of stop, stop. Titties can be terrifying.
I don't fabricate it, most of y'all be faking, I stay modest about it, she elaborated, this that great poop on the AV on that TED Talk, watch my soul speak, you let the meds talk, if I can.
If you watch Gordon Ryan's Flow Grappling tournament match where he smothered Pedro Marino for 24 minutes, then settled for an armbar. If I was a betting woman, I'd bet that if Gordon Ryan had fun bags, Pedro would have tapped at 20 minutes.
She elaborated, this that great poop on the AV on that TED Talk, watch my soul speak, you let the meds talk, if I kill a nigga, it won't be the alcohol, I'm the realest nigga after all, bitch, be humble, sit down, be humble, sit down, be humble, sit down, be humble, sit down.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's those little things.
Yeah.
Ah, thank you. All right, cool. All right.
Paige stands up, opens my guard, and does a bullfight technique pass to pass my guard. Before she can settle into side control, I beat her ability to settle by getting an underhook so I can immediately escape side control. Paige, if you're watching this, we literally drilling this 2 weeks ago when I told you skip framing the neck. It's better just to get an underhook during the transition, so you're always one step ahead in the escape technique. This will definitely help you out. After escaping side control, one option for you to do is to regain guard. Paige tries to Americana me, but I know I'm not in danger because if someone is inside your closed guard, it is very difficult for them to submit you. The submissions you are taught from closed guard are to submit someone inside your closed guard. No submissions are taught from when you're inside their closed guard. They have to be inside your closed guard in order for you to get these submissions from closed guard. I get a sickle sweep as Paige bum rushes me to take my back. Hey, you know, a back take is a back take is a back take by any means necessary. Paige is snapping me down. She is looking for a shot set up in order to get a double leg. I get into the pummel position and get a lateral drop takedown, which turns into an outside trip. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know how high of a percentage this takedown is. This is a wrestling takedown. 10 out of 10 would definitely recommend adding this to your game. I pass Paige's guard, I get into a judo side control called a keisakatame. You can use our headlock escapes to also escape keisakatame. I put her arm between my legs because from here you can get a kimura, armbar, and Americana. She gets a hook in and almost gets a sweep, so I step over her legs to get to her backside so I can gift wrap. She turns to get me off of her, so I go with the flow. I love training when I'm not scared to lose something and I just go where it goes. It's fun to see where things go and not just fight everything 100%. From side control, I'm looking to get a walk around kimura. I'm so fucking sick and tired of the Photoshop. Show me something natural like Afro picture pride. Show me something natural like ass with some stretch marks. Still I take you down right on your mama couch and polo socks. Ay, this shit way too crazy. Ay, you do not amaze me. Ay, I blew you from ACA. Obama just page me. Ay, I don't fabricate it. Ay, most of y'all be faking. Ay, I stay modest about it. Ay, she elaborated. Ay, this that great poop on that AV on that TED talk. Ay, watch my soul speak. You let the meds talk. Ay, if I kill a nigga, it won't be the alcohol. Ay, I'm the realest nigga after all. Bitch, be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. From the walk around kimura, I go for an armbar, and then from the armbar, I get a triangle hold and also have a grip on the arm inside of my legs. So here you can submit by an armbar from a triangle hold position or submit them using the triangle as a choke. I find the best success is to switch back and forth because while they're defending one thing, you're already attacking something else. And this really helps increase the percentage of getting a finish, especially if you are a smaller player going against a bigger player. It was great spending time with you and explaining these jiu-jitsu techniques during live rolling. It does take time to create these videos, so thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. and definitely double check to see if you are. Sometimes things unsubscribe. It's very strange. There is the role with minimal edits, so you can see everything in real time. This is very helpful, especially if you test yourself to see what you can remember and what you would do to defend. Mental reps do count, especially if you can imagine and work through techniques and reactions to counter techniques.
This here with all the ice on in the booth. At the gate outside, when they pull up, they give me loose. Yeah, jump out, boys. That's Nike boys. I've been our goose. This shit way too big. When we pull up, give me the loot. Was off the Remy, had a bad boost. Had to hit my old down to duck the news. 24-hour lockdown, we made no moves. Now it's 4 a.m. and I'm back up popping with the crew. I just landed in Chase B mixes pop like Jamba Joe's. Different color chains, see my jeweler really selling fruits. And they joking, man, know the crackers wish it was a no. Someone said, someone said, this shit way too formal, y'all know I don't follow suit. Stacy Dash, most of these girls ain't got a clue. All of these hoes I made off records I produce. I might take all my exes and put them all in a group. Hit my essays, I need the booch. About to turn this function into final room. Told her I been, you coming too. In the 305, bitches treat me like I'm Uncle Luke. Have to slot the top off, it's just a roof. She said, where we going? And I said, the moon. We ain't even make it to the room. She thought it was the ocean, it's just a pool. Now I gotta open, it's just a ghost. Who put this shit together? I'm the glue. Someone said, shorty face got me out the blue. Someone said, motherfucker, someone said.
Astro. Yeah. Hey. She's in love with who I am. Back in high school, I used to bust it to the dance. Now I hit the FBO with duffels in my hands. I did half a Zan, 13 hours till I land. Had me out like a light, ay, like a light, ay, like a light. Ay, slept through the flight, ay, not for the night. 767, man, this shit got double bedroom, man. I still got scores to settle, man. I crept down the block, made a right, cut the lights, made a price. Niggas think it's sweet, it's on sight. Nothing nice, Vegas in my ice. Jesus Christ, checks over stripes, yeah. That's what I like, that's what we like. Lost my respect, you're not a threat. When I shoot my shot, that shit wetty like on Shaq. See the shots that I took, wet like on Brooke, wet like on Lizzie. I be spinning valley circle blocks till I'm busy. Like where is he?
They keep that on like I say, you know this shit is life, yeah. It's absolute, yeah. I'm back with Boo. It's lit. Got Ferrari, Jamba Juice, yeah. We back on the road, they jumping off no parachute, yeah. Shorty in the back, she say she working on the glutes, yeah. Ain't by the book, yeah. It's how it look, yeah. Gotta check, yeah. Just check the foots, yeah. Pass this to my daughter, I'ma show her what it took. Baby mama cover Forbes, got these other bitches shook, yeah.
That real ass ain't keep your nigga home. like I throw it fast, real fast, fast, fast. Singing my old song, yelling ass, ass, ass. They be skating, trying to beat me, then they crash, crash, crash. Still 100 like the number on my dash, dash, dash.
She like I throw them right, keep on throwing the gas, keep on throwing the head, bitch working the back, I know you don't like me, you wanna fight me, you don't want no problem, let your party, don't invite me. I don't worry about you niggas, they stop talking about me. Always talking about me cause you looking for the clout. 6 Nina, the 9 Nina, riding in a 2-seater with 2 Ninas. Baby got that Aquafina, cocaine, smoking on that OG Reefer, no TMZ. 40 autos on a bitch truck, make a friend fuck, so that she could get you now. She let my friends walk, star shining in the Rolls Royce, ain't got red cuts. Wait, hold up, nah, I still don't give a fuck. Vroom, vroom, G5, vroom, vroom, V-I. You the type of nigga that I never wanna be like. You the type of bitch that will never get a reply. High hater, bye hater. You like I throw them right, keep on throwing that, keep on throwing that.
He a slave to this pussy, call me monster. Real wet, I said slurping like it's pasta. They get nervous when it's Nicki on a roster. Somebody usher this nigga into a clinic. My flow still sick, I ain't talking the pandemic. I write my own lyrics, a lot of these bitches gimmicks. They study Nicki style, now all of them want mimic. Talking about snitches when it's snitches and you can't. Never stand alone, you always itching for a stamp. Me, I'm still money, this is light up like a lamp. They gon' have to send their best fighter for the champ.
Watch.
I got a Mary, I'm popping. They keep hating, but still watching. Check the boards, I'm still topping. Bust down a plain Jane, I got options. It's a bunch of mini me's, I'm the one they mocking. Showed you how to get the bag, now you going shopping. When I come out, all the sneak bitches start plotting. When I come out, it's the sweet bitches start mopping.
Like I throw them right, keep on throwing that, keep on throwing that, bitch working the back, watch, got it,
Like I throw it fast, real fast, fast, fast. Singing my old song, yelling ass, ass, ass. That real ass ain't keep your nigga home.
top, smoking, no cooking, the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody, grip the trigger. Nobody call up the gang and they come and get jank. Cry me a river, give you a tissue. Bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. Raindrops, drop top, smoking, no cooking, the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody, grip the trigger. Nobody call up the gang and they come and get jank. Cry me a river, give you a tissue. Bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless.
You're doing great. Keep training, keep showing up. I believe in you. Paige, you're doing great. It's just always wonderful to see people getting better. It's very exciting. So thank you so much for watching. I enjoyed spending time with you, and until next time, love you. Bye.
Raindrops, drop top, smoking, no cooking, the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody, grip the trigger. Nobody call up the gang and they